Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing a review of a horror film from Sweden, Swedish language English subs, released in the year 2006, directed by Anders Banke, and this movie is called Frostbite. And the story of Frostbite, it takes place in a very secluded community in Sweden, where it plunges into darkness for a month. So it's very similar to 30 Days a Night, where the sun is not going to come up for 30 days. So this young girl and her mother come to this town and they're getting settled in. It doesn't take long before this young girl has made friends at a school, and one night there is a big party that's going to happen. So at this party, this teenager who works at this hospital overhears this conversation that this main doctor has about this patient he has been experimenting on that has been in a coma for many, many years. So it's not clear as to why she's been in a coma, but this teenager stumbles upon this red pill that this mysterious doctor is administering to this patient, and he believes that it might be something that is going to liven up the party. So normally to someone, taking a pill that you don't know what the hell it is a warning sign. Alarm bells are ringing. But this guy doesn't think anything of it, and he believes that it's going to lighten up the party, but it does the exact opposite. So when he takes the pill, he starts to feel weird, and other teenagers that take the pill start to feel very weird. And this is where the mystery behind the doctor comes into play. Now, the fact that the sun is not coming up for such a long time is going to play against these teenagers and the teenagers who haven't taken the pill. So what happens to that point on is a fight for survival that I'm not going to give away. So if you want to know how it unfolds, please go out there and see this film for yourself. Now my thoughts on Frostbite. I'm not going to get into the debate about which one came first. A lot of people say that the screenplay for 30 Days a Night came out first, even though it was released later than Frostbite, and a lot of other people are saying that 30 Days a Night is a rip-off Frostbite, even though, both films are based on a comic, apparently. So I'm not going to get into that debate. A lot of people hate each film because they believe that it's a rip-off the other. So taking none of that into consideration, I'm basing my opinion on both films separately. So I really like 30 Days a Night, and I really like Frostbite. Now, yes, they do bear strong resemblances in the storylines, but they're both very different films. 30 Days a Night had a very serious tone to it. It was very brutal and it was very scary, whereas this movie is much more lighthearted. It's a horror comedy, so although it does have a strong sort of similarity with 30 Days a Night, they're both different films, therefore they warrant different sort of viewings and to go in there with a fresh slate. So I really like this film. I thought the movie doesn't come without its flaws, but the positives outweigh the negatives. Now, to start off with, the story was really well done. The director doesn't use his aces up too early. I thought the build-up to the story and the backstory to the overall feeling to the film worked really well. The director was very patient to the movie, so a lot of people are going to be put off. If you don't like slow burners, then you're going to be disappointed. But if you like slow burners that pay off to a very rewarding climax, you're going to really like Frostbite. And I actually thought that was the best part of Frostbite. The fact that the side story, the backstory, the plot was really well driven, and it paid dividends, the fact that it was slow, because you get an understanding and therefore it creates a lot more suspense when the bad things start happening. So as far as, horror is concerned, I thought it was scary, although for a movie like this to work, I thought it would have been a little bit better being a little bit more scarier. And then on a comedy front, yes, it was funny, but it was very much like the horror. The horror was scary in moments, and the comedy was funny in moments, but it's never really elevated to the point where I'm going to call this a horror comedy masterpiece, because I think it was a little bit scarier than it was, a little bit funnier than it was scary, but it could have been funnier. And there were moments where the movie could have been scarier. So it had a platform on both genres, but it never really realizes the potential that it has. So it does play it safe a little bit, but having said that, it's still very memorable. But it had the chance to become a masterpiece. Now, to start off with, if you like the feeling that Let the Right One In had, a very secluded, very isolated feeling, then you're going to like this one. I thought it was a kind of like a brother to Let the Right One In. They're both vampire films, but both very different, but they bear the same resemblance. So it kind of feels like Frostbite and Let the Right One In had the same parents, but one was the brother and the other one was the sister, I guess you could say. And then you've got the adopted brother of 30 Days a Night. So it has that same isolated feeling. You feel like help is a long way away because the sun's not coming up for such a long time. I think it's a great sort of premise for a vampire film, and both Frostbite and 30 Days a Night utilize that story very, very well. So I thought that the pacing for the film, as I said, it's a little bit slow, but it worked really well for me. I thought the characters were really well done. They were exaggerated, so you don't really feel anything for them. But for a horror comedy, you don't need to feel anything for the characters. I thought there were certain scenes, including a dog, that were absolutely hilarious. I found myself laughing out loud, and that doesn't happen very often. And there were some moments to the film that I found myself being very, very scared. There were some moments of suspense. You get the feeling that these red pills are very bad. And when they take these red pills, the teenagers, you're waiting for that really bad side effect, but you're not sure if it's going to happen, but you get that odd feeling that it is going to happen. And the director realizes this, and the director's playing with you, so the tension is mounting, and you know something really, really bad's waiting. So the suspense levels were really high. Wasn't expecting that, so that's something I really like. And the fact that there is a lot of mystery surrounding the main doctor and what this experiment was all about. You want to know what the hell's behind this. So it has a really interesting story that plays off very well, and that keeps your interest from start to finish. I thought the ending was great. Some people might not like the ending. I'm not going to tell you anything about it because I don't want to give it away, but I thought it was a very nice way to cap off what was a nice experience. The cinematography is a very gothic sort of feeling, but if you like Scandinavian horror films, and if you like in particular Let the Right One In, and from America they're 30 Days a Night, then this is definitely one to check out. As I said, it's very light-hearted, so it is very different. It's not gory, although it does have a lot of blood in it, but more of it is the aftermath. So it is a movie that is not going to, strike you with very gory scenes, but it will surprise you because it does have elements in it that I wasn't expecting. It could have been funnier in moments, it could have been scarier in moments, but as far as the scare sort of comedy factor is concerned, it is very passable, and it does pass off as a horror comedy. I thought there were moments in the film that were a little bit too convenient as far as explaining the plot, but that doesn't derail it. So in the end, what you get is a very entertaining horror comedy that I will highly recommend if you enjoyed films like Let the Right One In and 30 Days a Night. It takes both those elements and it makes it its own. And if you're sick of films like Twilight, then Frostbite is definitely one to have, because it does show you the traditional sort of vampire that is very mean and nasty instead of being, polite and, all sparkly. So, yeah, I was really happy with this one. It surprised me, and I'm sure it's going to surprise a lot of people out there as well. So overall, I'm going to give Frostbite 3.5 stars, and it's coming recommended. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you.